Talking about the inauguration today of President Biden. We have with us Dr. John Weil, MTSU Political Science professor. And let's go back to the phones and Michael. Hello, Michael.
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead.
I grew up in the 60s. My dad was military. We moved around a lot. I remember Vietnam. And I remember that back in those days with LBJ and Nixon, you had conservatives and liberals in both parties.
Yes.
How did it come today that most of the liberals are Democrats and most of the conservatives are Republicans, which causes a bigger divide? I remember back then they worked together more because you had liberals and Democrats in both.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more. Now, they would talk things out, and we don't have that today. How did it evolve to what we're facing now because of that?
Michael, I like that question. Okay, what about that, Dr. Weil?
Parties have become more ideological in part because it used to be you had the solid South who almost always voted Democrats, and they tended to be conservative, even though they would vote Democratic in other ways. Both parties, the Democratic Party has moved leftward, the Republican Party has moved rightward. The most liberal Democrat, the most conservative Democrat is still more liberal than the most liberal Republican. And, part of it in the last 4 years, I should add, has just been the president really has not modeled civility. He's done a lot of name calling. He's touted out things that we know to be false. And when that happens, when the person at the top acts in that fashion, he's imitated by others. And that's why I made my earlier plea that the Republican Party really needs to purge itself of that, get back to the Howard Bakers of this world, the Al Gore seniors, even the Alexanders, people who put their country above their party and even above their own ideology.
Part of it's media. Part of it is, the way you can watch news that kind of reaffirms your own beliefs. You can be in a bubble on social media and just get fed nothing but stuff that's really not true, but stuff that reinforces again what you believe. And so, how can we get past all of that? We have about a minute and a half left. And so, Dr. Weil, I'll just leave you watched this day. I guess the takeaway from this day, in your view, is what?
To me, I was astounded by, even though there wasn't the large crowd there, even though people were social distance, I find it hard to see people saluting the flag, listening to the Star-Spangled Banner, and not to think, that we have more that unites us than we have that divides us. And I think we need occasional days like today where, we don't argue, we don't debate on, this or that. We collectively celebrate a tradition of 230 some years now of the peaceful transfer of power. That is something we can all celebrate.
Amen. All right. Dr. John Weil, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
We'll take a break, come back, wrap everything up. Be back right after this.